The International Newsnet World Report is a national television news show available in more than 30 million homes. We broadcast daily real news the networks won't tell you. We are solely viewer-supported. That means you. You can donate at our website, inenworldreport.net. We hope you find the following interview informative and helpful.
Pakistani President General Pervez Musharraf put the country under martial law this weekend. He claims in order to combat the rise of radical Islamic extremism. Comparing himself to U.S. President Abraham Lincoln as a leader facing a divided nation, Musharraf appealed directly to the U.S., saying in a short speech given in English, "Inaction at this moment is suicide for Pakistan, and I cannot allow this country to commit suicide." Musharraf, who took power in a 1999 coup, suspended the Constitution, replaced and had arrested 7 Supreme Court judges days before a crucial ruling on the legitimacy of his presidency. Musharraf also shut down all but state-run media, despite the urging of Washington and other Western allies against such authoritarian measures. To explain more, we're joined on the phone from Islamabad, Andrew Buncombe, who is the Asia correspondent for The Independent. Welcome to INN, Andrew.
Jerry, hi.
Musharraf's opponents suspect that Musharraf may have suspended Pakistan's constitution in order to change the makeup of the Supreme Court, just for that reason, so that he would be able to remain in power. Do you believe that that's true?
Well, I think what's happened is that he was expecting the Supreme Court was going to rule against him over his recent election victory on October the 6th. There had been a legal challenge about his eligibility to run, and the Supreme Court had said, well, the election can go ahead, but we haven't yet decided on the matter of his eligibility. Now, reports suggest he got word that the court was going to rule against him, and he thought, this is just too much trouble. I need to get around this, and the way he decided to do it was to declare a state of emergency, get rid of the Supreme Court, and put in its place some judges who were much more amenable to his will.
Now, he's also had these judges are arrested. They're under house arrest. They cannot talk to the media, what's left of the media?
That's right. They are under house arrest. Actually, just tonight, we were able to get a message out of the house of the ousted Chief Justice, Iftikhar Chowdhury, a defiant message in which he said that the general had acted illegally, and he urged that the return of law happen as soon as possible. But essentially, these guys are incommunicado. Yes, their houses are surrounded by armed police, and their phones are cut off.
Into the dynamic is the return of former Pakistani Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, and many people feel she is essentially a U.S. stooge, an operative of the U.S. that is ready to take power if Musharraf does not act as the West wants him to act. Do you believe that's true?
Well, Benazir Bhutto is due to arrive in Islamabad on Tuesday, we're told. Of course, she has an awful lot to gain, perhaps the most to gain, from the elections, the parliamentary elections planned for January to go ahead. She wants, things back to as they were, because she's battling to win a third time as Prime Minister. As you said, she's got the backing of the US and the UK. They've been heavily involved in brokering what we believed was a power-sharing arrangement between her and General Musharraf. Where that is now seems unclear, but the US and the UK have invested an awful lot of effort in this, and one suspects that they are putting pressure on Mr. Musharraf to get back things as they were, and to have a more inclusive policy, and to open the way to elections. It's interesting that the Pakistani government tonight said that those elections would indeed go ahead within the 60 days as they'd vowed.
We've heard about this media blackout. Now, what's happening to Pakistani journalists, and are you, as a foreign journalist, are you allowed to report freely?
Well, all the TV channels are off the air, international and domestic, with the exception of Pakistani state television, PTV. The newspapers are still being printed, though we're hearing reports that even they are now coming under pressure. Certainly, what happened as part of the proclamation on Saturday was that new ordinances were issued that restricted media freedom. They were told that they faced jail time if they reported certain things in certain ways. As far as the international media is concerned, we're still able to go about our business pretty freely, have meetings with some government officials today. We're able to go reasonably unhindered. We tried to get to see the Chief Justice, but there was, that wasn't happening. The police are still keeping things, off limits to us as well. But there's been no attempt to actually crack down on our attempts at reporting what we were reporting.
Now, this is, by all classifications, martial law. You mentioned the police. Are the police and the military siding all with Musharraf, or is there some split between the police and the military?
Well, you asked a million-dollar question. Hearing all these rumors that elements within the military aren't happy with what Mr. Musharraf's done. Today, Islamabad was gripped with rumor that he himself had been arrested by the military and was under house arrest. Pretty confident that isn't true, but that gives you some indication of the mood here. There's a lot of semantics about whether this is martial law or whether it's simply a state of emergency. Essentially what happened, General Musharraf, in his role as Chief of the Army, suspended the Constitution. So you have a military leader suspended the Constitution. We might not have a system whereby there are no civilian members of government. We may not have a system whereby the army is running everything. But you had a decision on Saturday night where a soldier, where a general suspended the country's constitution. So as you say, my instinct is that's martial law.
How are Pakistan citizens reacting to this?
Well, I think Pakistani citizens, the reaction has been reasonably muted. We've seen about the demonstrations by the lawyers and the activists. A couple of thousand of them have been rounded up and detained. A lot of people are angry at this. They don't like it. I think also at some level, many people here are embarrassed. They don't want their country to be in the headlines all the time for the wrong reasons. Pakistani people are awfully nice. They're awfully friendly. They're awfully hospitable. And they don't like this. They want their country to be treated seriously. And they don't like it when military leaders start ripping up the rule books.
I mean, are they resisting, though, to martial law? I mean, you've got soldiers in the streets, you've got police in the streets. We have that in a lot of places, but this isn't how things usually are there. Is there a resistance to it? Are people very angry? Are they willing to do something, do some kind of an action to reverse this, or are they more complacent?
That's another crucial question. My instinct is that if there is going to be a groundswell of opposition, it's going to take several days to build. I mean, people, remember, are used to having a military leader here. This isn't suddenly a country that went from democracy and was suddenly plunged into emergency rule. This was a country that effectively had a military dictator anyway. So, it's not quite a level playing field. They haven't gone from one extreme to the other. Things were pretty authoritarian already. So people I think, are used to a lot of this stuff. But at the same time, I don't think they like it, and I think that there's a fair opportunity that people will take to the streets at some point. Finally,
what will happen if Musharraf fails? I mean, Pakistan has the bomb. Is there any possible truth to what he's saying that Islamic radicals could seize control of the government and then have their hands on a nuclear weapon?
Pakistan does have the bomb. Pakistan is a key location for the training of Islamic extremists. That's why this is so important. That is why the West has been spending billions of dollars for the last 5 years trying to shore up General Musharraf, trying to shore up an ally in the so-called war on terror. That's why Britain has been behind that policy. That's exactly why it matters. If this was another country that didn't have the bomb and was not, home to so many training camps, I don't think we'd be seeing such international concern.
Andrew Buncombe, thank you so much for joining us in International News.
Well, I wish you all the best. Thank you.